Welcome everybody to Sectastic. Today I got with me Mazin. Hey Mazin.
Hey Milad, how are you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
All great here. Just a normal day.
Awesome. Okay, Mazin, let's drive straight into it. Tell us about yourself. How did you get in the cybersecurity industry? What's your career background?
Sure. My name is Mazin, and I started security when I was in high school, mainly driven by curiosity on how things work. And every time I'm reading on the news about a new hack or how this hacking group is doing their impact on the world, and I'm imagining how this is being happening, and I was like, maybe I should give it a shot and just try to read and learn about this for a couple of months and see how it would go. And yeah, I started when I was in high school, just reading and trying different things. And at a certain point, I was around 15 years, 15 years old or something. And of course, no one would be hiring a 15 years old for a security engineering role. It's not that easy. If you are a company and you're hiring for that, this would be amazing. But it wasn't as easy for me when I was at that age. But there was a company called Buckrowd, and it's a platform where you can sign up as a researcher and with no a lot of verification being happening, like about your background and like whether you have a bachelor degree in computer science or you have 10 years of experience in security or something like that. And it's doing something called bug bounties. Everyone knows it now. And back then, it wasn't as popular as today. Like when I joined Buckrowd, it was around 3,000 researchers or something. Today is like more than 100,000. But like I was one of the like first people to join there. The thing that was really interesting is they would allow you to do testing, security testing for your for their customers, like that has bug bounty programs. And if you find a security vulnerability, you would get rewarded about it. And it was amazing because you have the legal permission to do testing and try to learn more. And even if you find something good, that you would be earning money. And this was how I started. I was mainly focusing on web application security, and at that time, and I'm still in love with application security and web application security. But like when I started, I was mainly focusing on web. I After working for a while, I started learning more about penetration testing, and I started working independently, doing penetration testing projects for customers. And then after a while, I started doing security research, where I was writing about different thoughts and different ideas I had in my mind that could be hopefully helpful for people that are learning security. And one thing that I was focused on are web application firewalls, how they work, how it was imagined being put as something that is the magical solution for all your web problems. And I wrote yeah, that's still a thing, by the way, but unfortunately, of course. But I wrote a research paper like a couple of years back about like web application firewalls, and I tried to bring as much modern WAFs, and then try to find a single bypass at least on them. And I brought up F5, Barracuda. I think what else? Most security and web night. I totally forgot the names now, but there were more than I think 7 products, I think. And each one of them has at least a single bypass. For example, like for F5, I think there was 3 or 4 different cross-site scripting vectors that was not being blocked, and I documented everything. And of course, did responsible disclosure that back then, and presented it in my website. And this is one thing. And then after that, I started moving more into security engineering. In security engineering, I moved into focusing into how would, like, I was working with reporting vulnerabilities to customers, but how would the people on the other side of the screen are receiving these vulnerabilities and how they are handling it? Like, reporting vulnerabilities is one thing, and fixing it and taking it to the proper teams to fix it and is another big thing. And it's I find it much more difficult to fix a vulnerability than to find it until today. And I found this much more interesting because there are so many things to learn here, like doing security engineering. And I focus more in application security, and the past 2 years I'm focusing in cloud security and everything related to cloud.
Okay, wow, it's quite a journey, Mazin. Can definitely relate to the fact that I was also like a hands-on learner, and trial and error was my motto, and how I got into this space. Yeah, so for me personally, and I think for you as well, it's the best way to learn. Like, works for me great. I always say I don't want to hear like these. I definitely don't want to have the marketing pitches, and I don't want to read necessarily all the manual of a product. Just give me whatever it is, and I will crash it till I learn how to handle it.
Okay. No one
Okay.
needs a manual anyway.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, you did the right thing here.
Okay, and you bring up a interesting perspective, right? Application security, and then your interest in security engineering. And I know for a fact, not only you are a very talented security engineer and researcher, but seems like you're now also an entrepreneur with FullHunt. So tell us about FullHunt.
Yeah, so FullHunt is something that I have been working on for the past years, and I totally believe that FullHunt will be a huge thing pretty soon, hopefully, inshallah. And FullHunt is initially an idea that I had when I was working with Proton Mail and their security team. At that time, I was working on different things, and one of the things was to automate different security challenges that we have been seeing or facing, and to ways to understand the attack surface or to identify vulnerabilities that could be publicly exploitable or publicly exploitable or accessible by parties that are trying to attack us, for example. And it seems like a problem, like when I started, that can be replicated to different companies, because who really understand their attack surface? I can put a bet that it's not that easy to say, yeah, yes, I understand the entire attack surface. And if you find someone in your like infrastructure team that knows every single asset or server or a QA environment or a shadow IT server or anything, this person should be promoted like to something that is crazy, because no one really knows it. And that's where FullHunt came to reality. I started building FullHunt as a solution or a platform there where security teams would be able to understand the attack surface that the attacker can see by doing different enumeration from the DNS level, from IP ranges scanning and internet scanning, and parsing them and doing different processing, and then presenting them into a nice and an actionable way in a platform. From there, this was the initial idea to just present the data, but now we have a great data set that could be used into more things. And that's when it comes to the monitoring part that I work on developing. And so what FullHunt now does is doing continuous security for your external attack surface, where it's scanning all of your assets on a continuous basis. And whenever any single change that is happening into your external attack surface, for anything like internet connected devices, web servers, your shadow IT service that no one know about, you would get an alert on your preferred notification channel, whether it's Slack, email, or whatever thing that you would like. And then you would be able to keep up with what the changes that are happening on your external attack network. And then you would, and there is also an internal vulnerability scanner that I developed for FullHunt that is doing continuous vulnerability scanning for all of your attack surface. And it's pretty neat because it's a modular approach that is like whenever there is a new security vulnerability that is out there, like there would be a new module for it that like we write. And then once it's written, it would be deployed into our engines. And all of all of the customers would be scanned right away, and they would get an alert if one of these vulnerabilities or the new vulnerabilities presented in anything related to their external attack surface. So that's FullHunt in a nutshell, if you say.
Okay, and now let's maybe dive a bit more into it, like for the techies that are listening in. You mentioned you have a vulnerability scanner. Are you scanning IP ranges, or how do you go for it? And you mentioned also the importance of detecting like shadow IT scenarios. How do you factor these kind of things in? So basically, how do you scan the environment with FullHunt?
Okay, so I think the most difficult part is the identification. We can jump into that in a bit later. But for once we identify all of the attack surface, then the scanning would be like one thing is the vulnerability scanner, and it's currently scanning all of the subdomains that has been identified and the domains for sure, and then the IP ranges IP ranges typically requires manual verification, like on the onboarding part, and once it's onboarded, it will be automatically scanned like continuously, like every hour or every day or something like that, for all of the IP ranges that the company would like to scan. And there is an exclusion and writing rules and different things for that too.
Okay, and then is it cross-platform or is it a plan to be cross-platform?
It says like FullHunt is a fully SaaS product. Like even the deployment is pretty easy for anyone to do. Like they would be contacting like team at FullHunt.io and for a demo, and we would be setting up their account, and we would be doing the enumeration for their domains and everything. They don't really need to provide anything. They just say, hey, this is I don't know, xyz.com, and we would like an account for FullHunt, and they would get their full setup for all of their assets and automatically.
Okay, I mean, what's really interesting for me when it comes to the area of vulnerability management, right, is in fact what you're mentioning, having that ability to do continuous assessment. When I've been talking to customers, I would always say, it's great, so you're a CISO or whatever, you made the decision, oh, this quarter is a good quarter to do an assessment, and then the team runs off, gets some solution, deploys the scanner, scans, they get a fancy report, and then next quarter, or maybe we skip one quarter, the CISO said, we should totally do an assessment, and you could pretty much use the same report again, because they haven't gone into the stage where they actually fix the vulnerability, which is like what you were mentioning, right? Where you can create the report, but then there's the actual hard part, which is fixing this situation. How do you think about the fixing part? Does FullHunt help today already, or is it like a future direction you want to go?
So yeah, the fixing part. This is a really interesting topic to talk about. I can talk about it for hours. The thing is, every company, like every security team in a company, would be receiving tons of security vulnerabilities on a monthly basis, or in a, I don't know, on a different base. But not every single vulnerability should be patched. And why? The reason is why is, if you are receiving 1,000 vulnerabilities and 970 are low risk, and analyzing each one of them, this is literally the thing that I do. Even if a vulnerability is low risk, I would read the report, verify it. What does it do? Is it actually replicable in our environment, or it's just an automated thing that was reported to us? And analyzing this, you would end up with 30 vulnerabilities that you would like to patch. And this is a real thing. So what I'm doing now with FullHunt is I'm not scanning every single vulnerability that you would be seeing, because this would be creating a lot of noise and headache for people, for vulnerabilities that will not cause a breach for you. I'm only focusing on vulnerabilities that would cause the next breach for you. If it's, let's say, an F5 exploit that was released, I think 4 days ago, I would be scanning for that. But if you tell me about a DOM-based cross-site scripting vulnerability for an asset that no one is using, or for something that is really random, I wouldn't be really scanning this, because it wouldn't really change the world for you.
Okay, that makes absolute sense, right? Because at the end of the day, in our line of work, it's all about prioritizing, right? We never have enough resources, so we need to prioritize on what we do, when we do it, and how we do it. Awesome. What are your future plans for FullHunt?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you have heard about this. So like for a while, I thought about pausing FullHunt for to focus on different things that I'm working on. And last 4 months ago, we had an acquisition that happened to a company in the US called Expanse. It was acquired by Palo Alto, and it's doing something really similar to what FullHunt is doing. But to be honest, I find that FullHunt is doing more. I can back my words if anyone would like a demo. And the acquisition was for around $600 million. This is a market that is there, and it's here to stay. And the reason that someone would be paying all of this money for Expanse is because this is a problem that every single company is facing. No one really understands their attack surface, and this is what I'm trying to solve. And I'm planning to expand FullHunt with different capabilities, and build up a bigger team, build up. I of course expand and extend the vulnerability scanner that I'm building, and of course all of the continuous security capabilities.
Okay, nice. Definitely, I mean, Mazin, you're known in our community, right? Particularly in 971 Sec and throughout the GCC. What I'm curious about, and you mentioned one successful startup in the US. There is this gigantic startup culture in the US and in other areas of the world. I think in the GCC, there are some success stories, right? But maybe not necessarily yet in the cybersecurity industry. So what's really fascinating for me is seeing you as a now entrepreneur starting a startup and then proving that we can have cybersecurity startups out of this region. How do you see, like, do you collaborate with other startups? How do you see the startup culture in the region?
Yeah, we definitely have a startup culture here in Dubai and the United Arab Emirates. The thing is, in the GCC region, the focus on startups are mainly for B2C startups or B2C products. You would see something like Kareem being really successful, and of course it's really successful because it's something that is really simple to explain to everyone. And this is a ride-sharing app. You would download the app, you would have, and you would link it to your credit card, and you can have a ride to whatever place you like, and you just have it in a really safe and secure way. This is an this is a clear thing. But when you go and for to explain a security startup or a security product, it doesn't go as smooth as this. Like for me and for different people that I know in the industry, the startup scene here in Dubai and the Middle East, like, or let's say in the GCC, um, like investments and funding for security startups is not really the main focus, and it's bad. I wish it can be better. If this was a big thing, I'm pretty sure FullHunt would be much more bigger.
Okay, but knowing you, I think it's just a matter of time.
Hopefully, inshallah.
Inshallah. Mazin, thank you so much for joining Sectastic and sharing insights about your career and about FullHunt. Appreciate you taking the time for our community.
Thank you very much, Bilal, and have a great day.
Thank you. You too, my friend.